Hey guys, this is Jay coming to you from 21st Century Reviews, bringing you yet another review for Star Trek, the official Starships collection by Eagle Moss, issue number 6, the Starship USS Voyager. Registration number NCC 74656. Launched as an Intrepid class starship under the captaincy of Catherine Janeway. Made popular by the TV series Star Trek Voyager. I gotta be honest, this is a ship design that I actually really do like. I actually enjoy this ship design quite a lot, based solely on the fact that it's got really good symmetry to it. It's very aerodynamic, it's sleek, it's slim. It's not as big and bulky as the Galaxy class starship, but it's not as small as, say, the USS Defiant. You know, it is an exploration vessel. It's not a warship. It's, but to be fair, it more than held its own in the 7 seasons of the show Star Trek Voyager, even making, not as the Voyager, but even making a cameo appearance in one episode of Deep Space Nine. And, I mean, I thought that was kind of clever that they actually did that, just because it was just kind of neat, to be honest. But without further ado, let's just get to the pros, the cons, and give it a rating for this evening. But let's do a quick pan of it and everything. Kind of back this out just a hair so you can kind of get a good glimpse of the whole thing. And then we'll keep panning just a hair. And refocus, because I just love this camera. Yeah, the lines of sight of this ship and everything, I absolutely adored. I always liked the design of it and everything. Admittedly, Voyager was one of my least favorite TV shows, but that's not to say that it was a bad in general. It's just a matter of opinion, to be completely honest with you. So, just to be fair, let's go on with our pros list. And in our pros list, we're going to actually put down just kind of, the decals, the painting, and the Aztecing. Start off with the fact that this unique design, like I said, it's a very smooth, slender design and everything. I mean, whenever you look at it, the saucer section and everything is a very different design from what we were used to, just in the sense of the fact that it was long, sleek, and just kind of like a football. It's kind of the best way to describe it. The one thing I can say that, and since I actually got a question from somebody, first question I've ever gotten, by the way, about why I never show the magazines. And to be fair, the magazines are a hit and miss for me, mostly because, the information in them is really good, but a lot of times what bothers me is I really, really hate bad editing, and I really don't like it when I can pick out things like, there's been, magazines where I've seen paragraphs that are all written in caps lock that shouldn't be, or they're all written in low caps, or punctuated wrong, or something. Just as somebody who's done enough, editing of his own, in his own, papers and everything in school, that's just irritating, and for whatever reason. And the fact that they're an actual publication, unfortunately, Eagle Moss, you kind of get a 1 out of 5 on your publications, because sometimes, too, one of the other things, I'm sorry to drift off subject here, but I've noticed that if you don't have a lot of information on a specific one from, like, say, the design team, you'll use filler information about say, the culture that it's attached to fill up the magazine. I get it, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying because you'd actually like the information on the subject matter, not about the culture that's attached to it. So, if you want a book about, say, the Gorn, well, then go find a book about the Gorn. If you, want a, book about the Klingons, well, I'm sure there's more than enough books about the Klingons to know all about them. So, but, another pro to this one was that in the magazine, they actually showed a lot of the design concepts that they had thought about when designing Voyager. And that, admittedly, was a really good read. So I did really enjoy that. We're going to say on the main part of the pros list, we're going to go with decals first. Decals application gets a 5 out of 5, simply because registration numbers all appear where they're supposed to. The emblems and the lines of sight down the nacelle housings and everything are perfectly placed. The application of all paint and everything on this is actually pretty much spot on. The only reason that I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, unlike the decals, which I just gave a 5 out of 5 to, is that, in all honesty, one of the things that bugs me about this is that, we'll start with a side view, everything, and say the nacelles. We have clear plastic blue on the entire run of the nacelle housing. But then we get to the tip, everything, where the Bussard collectors are, and the Bussard collectors are painted. Like, seriously? Like, you didn't have any red clear plastic? I mean, I'm just saying, it's kind of irritating on that front and everything. So, paint-wise, I'm actually going to give it a 4 out of 5 based solely on the fact that there are things on it, like the shuttle bay, that should just be part of the actual component, and it's not. It's painted on. Everything. And again, we have the nacelle on the other side. We have clear plastic application on the main body of the nacelle housing, but yet the Bussard collector, magically, doesn't have it. And to be completely fair, you know, the main deflector dish should have some measure of a clear plastic ring, like a blue plastic ring around it and everything. It's not. It's painted on. So, not trying to be too critical, but at least for paint-wise, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5 because, you know, to be fair, the paint color seems fine. The paint application spots seem to be perfectly good, but yet you have things painted that, in my opinion, shouldn't be painted, so 4 out of 5 on that. Aztecing. This one kills me. The Aztecing on the ventral section of the ship is amazing. It looks absolutely breathtaking. All the grooves are in the right spot, all the lines of sight are proper. It looks really, really nice. Now, to be fair, as you can tell from the video, this ship, when looked at, you're going to see it from the bottom more so than you will see it from the top because it's aimed at an upward angle. So you are going to see the bottom of it more predominantly than the top. However, even though the fact that I'm over 6 feet tall, I'm looking at it from the top, and a lot of the Aztecing you can't really see. You can see the lines, but they're not defined lines because they haven't been dug into the lines of sight properly. And it doesn't look very good. It should, if you're not going to actually do a really solid firm indentation, the least you do is put like a really dark line down it to show the contour to it and everything. Basic modeling 101 right there. So Aztecing, I'm actually giving it a 3 out of 5 just because I don't really care for the Aztecing on this ship. And weirdly enough, you might think, well, geez, he's not even to the cons list yet. Well, to be fair, that's just my point. I've already pointed on the Aztecing being kind of rough, so I'm not going to gripe about that too much. The clear plastic nacelles having a red Bussard collector, you know, I already touched on that. Shuttle bay and the deflector, already touched on that. So I only have 2 more points to go to. Main gripe with this model is the same kind of gripe I had with the Bird of Prey model. The nacelles don't move. You know, to be fair and honest, the Micro Machine from 1996 came as a model with movable nacelles. Now, to be honest, the model looks terrible on the Micro Machine, mostly because it's a teeny tiny little figure, and they had to really get creative on how to make swiveling nacelles in order to make it look right. But they took the time to do that, which is kind of hilarious because their Klingon Birds of Prey models, they didn't do that with. But they did it with that one, and I'm sure that had something to do with the fact of popularity of the Voyager ship itself, because that particular collection of Micro Machines was excruciatingly rare, and even to this day is excruciatingly expensive to try and get now. So, the nacelles don't move. Do they have to? No. But to me, I look at it, I still, you know, I have my Playmates version, the big Starship Voyager, everything. And even though it's got like a mechanism in it that's really loud and obnoxious, I can move the nacelles. I can put them in standard flight mode. I can put them in warp mode. That's because that's one of the main features of this ship. To me, to not do that is kind of, it's not really insulting. It's just more like, come on, guys. You didn't mean to tell me you couldn't make a little hinge that just flips it upward, everything, and then just flip it back down? Come on. It couldn't have been that hard to do. So, that's the thing about that. Now, again about the magazine. Sorry to bring it up again, because of course I'm not showing you the magazine, but there was a ton of talk in the magazine about the Aero shuttle that goes on the very bottom of Voyager, right under the main bridge section, everything. The Aero shuttle is basically an equivalent to the captain's yacht, as far as I can tell. My main problem with this is that, for one, they went ahead. I do believe there's a later issue in the Eagle Moss collection of the Aero shuttle, but then on top of it, they're making a big deal about this Aero shuttle. They've even made a model of it, and yet never once in the show did we ever actually see it. It was just a footnote in concept art. That bothers me. I mean, it's kind of like, to be honest, the shuttle packs. I am looking forward to actually purchasing the shuttle packs whenever, they become available for me, and when funding, of course, allows, just because I am intrigued to see the details. But to be fair, it's like, Trekkie. He had pointed out that, he and many others were looking forward to the addition of the space dock. I get it, but at the same time, it's not like it was a heavily action piece. Being the Earth space dock. Is it neat looking? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, to be honest, I have the little Micro Machine version of it. That's perfectly fine. Same with Station K7. About the only exception to that rule I can really say that has a lot of character to it would be Deep Space Nine. And I still haven't gotten mine from Eagle Moss yet. But, that's just kind of my pet peeve with it, is that I've noticed in the newer editions that are being put out now. Of course, I'm like 50 issues or 70 issues behind most of the other collectors, but I'm here in America, so those overseas have actually had access to them longer than I have. But to be fair, that's my main critique with that concept is there was like 2 or 3 pages in the magazine about the Aero shuttle. I've never seen the Aero shuttle. And then I read that either it's a pending issue for Eagle Moss or they've already done it. And I'm kind of looking at it and going, that's cool. A ship no one's ever been in. Neat, but whatever. I mean, I guess it is what it is. But to be fair, I'm only going to grade this model just based on the fact that I have more problems with it than I have actual good things. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, just because... it's not like it's a colossal failure or anything. It's just little things about it that bother me. And the fact that there's emphasis put on certain things that to me shouldn't even be emphasized at all. I'd be more interested to learn about other things about it and everything. But, hey, I'm not the guy at the design team. So, again, we're going to say 3 out of 5. Questions, comments, concerns, please put them in the comment section below. Subscribers. Need subscribers. Need more people watching these things and everything. I also put out a Facebook page and everything that I will actually put the link in the comment section down below. Please feel free to subscribe. I've been basically just putting up a lot of Star Trek pictures and everything right now just to kind of bait some attention, and then put out a few independent distributors of these Eagle Moss things if you wanted to not subscribe but just buy them outright. There is a few guys out there that actually do have the ability to do that. So... like I said, feel free to leave me any comments, questions, or concerns in the comments section. Make sure you subscribe, click the like button, and as always, we're working on it.